Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Yeah, I've got to mention this guy, this Cuban fella named Damian Lescaille, because he fought a very good opponent, Hugo Noriega, at the weekend. Well, it's still the weekend, but yes, it was either yesterday or Friday night. The time difference always gets me. I think it was Saturday night over in America, Miami Beach, Florida. And Lescaille, I want to sort of put you on notice of him because I don't know if you've heard of him. I didn't know too much about him. I'd read about him, but I don't think I'd seen him before, and I like what I see. He's now got 5 wins with 3 KOs, no draws, no defeats. And Noriega, who is this gigantic welterweight. I mean, he's 6'2" and big with it. How the hell he makes the weight, I don't know. But he was a very, very valid opponent for Lescaille. Noriega is also born in Cuba. He is based in Miami, Florida. Lescaille, well, I think they're both based in Miami, Florida, actually. So it was kind of a little local derby. But Lescaille, like I say, 24 years of old, 5'9". Noriega's older, he's 33. I came in with an 8-0 record, and you know, you looked at them and you thought, okay, they're both undefeated. The orthodox fighter was Noriega. Lescaille was a southpaw. This is going to be an interesting matchup because physically they look different, both Cuban, but at the same time, you know, with Cuban fighters, they tend to be very, very well schooled, very well refined in their skills. And Lescaille, the difference I think was, apart from the sort of youthful energy of Lescaille, was that he was very front-footed, very, very aggressive. This isn't an Eruslandi Lara or a Gemelo Rigondeaux. This is a guy with a lot of spite. And the opening bell goes. You clearly see the size difference. Noriega, huge, towering over Lescaille, but he didn't care. He went straight forward, southpaw, banging in the jab, hanging a lot of combinations, not just single pot shots, but combinations off the jab. Noriega, even though he was very tall, his footwork was pretty good, his balance was pretty good. But the first round, it kind of set the table for the overall fight. I think Lescaille was just too quick. He was very, very quick, and a bit too busy for Noriega. And it was clear from the off that Noriega was going to have to somehow kind of slow down Lescaille and, you know, contain him. Now you may think, well, the much bigger man is the one that needs to be contained. He was put in his box straight away by Lescaille, by the aggression, by the punch variety, because Lescaille was, apart from being very, very aggressive, was letting his hands go repeatedly, body, head, both hands. He's a southpaw to boot, so that made it a little bit more awkward. But the 33-year-old Noriega, he had his work cut out in the early rounds, but he did not at any point wilt. Even though he got stung, I think, possibly at the end, towards the end of the second round, he looked a bit sort of all at sea, a bit dishevelled. He wasn't stunned's too strong a word, but he was kind of knocked out of his comfort zone and was flailing a little bit. But he regrouped and he kept, you know, doing his bit and trying to sort of work his jab, trying to let his own punches go, trying to put his own pressure on, but Lescaille wasn't having any of it. And Lescaille, as the rounds ticked by, I mean, I gave him, I think, the first 4 rounds. Then in the middle rounds, Noriega started to sort of make it a bit closer. Fair play to him, because a lot of fighters would have been overwhelmed by Damian Lescaille's industry and his output. Not a bit of it with Noriega. He must have known he was losing the rounds, but he'd come to win, and he wasn't quitting at all. It wasn't as if he was thinking, I'm just going to go the distance. It looked to me like he was still in those middle rounds thinking, okay, you know, this was a 10-rounder, by the way. He was thinking, okay, you've had your fun, and now here comes mine. And he was trying to come back into it, was letting his hands go, was getting up close. They were exchanging. Lescaille wasn't giving an inch. Noriega desperately trying to claw back the deficit. And I gave him a couple of the middle rounds. I thought they were close-ish, and to be honest, they could be swing rounds. But I thought, okay, Noriega's got back into it. But down the stretch, I suppose, rounds 8, 9, 10, it was pretty much all Lescaille. Maybe that's not accurate. It was Lescaille who was landing the cleaner, sharper, better punches, and Noriega, again, no quit in him, still kept flailing away. But there was this sort of long, gangly, you know, yeah, like I say, he was kind of flailing a bit. He was desperately trying to claw back, you know, and by working as hard as he possibly could, whereas Lescaille was just full of energy. I mean, he did these 10 rounds at a breakneck pace, and it did not suit Noriega at all, who had that sort of, I guess, you know, maybe flailing away is a bit unkind. Let's say he had a rather more languid style. But both guys used their feet very, very well. Noriega stayed out of a lot of trouble with his feet, but he had to get up close. It was weird because he was so much taller and he had longer reach, but he was being out-jabbed. I mean, Lescaille was just so quick and so sharp and so on point that Noriega really had to kind of turn it into a fight. You'd think it might be the other way around, with the smaller guy having to drag the bigger guy into the phone booth, but not a bit of it. And you know, they were both quite happy to have a little punch up, you know, exchange punches and make it an entertaining fight. It was very, very entertaining. Even though one guy won most of the rounds, I thought it was pretty entertaining and very, very interesting to look at Lescaille. At 33, Noriega, having had, you know, his first defeat, he's now 8 wins, 5 by KO, and one loss on points. I'm not saying he's out of it. He's a good fighter. He's got some skills. He might be able to pick up a few paychecks, win a few of the secondary belts. But the one to keep an eye on is Damian Lescaille, because I was quite impressed. I thought he seemed to have every punch in the book, and he's only 24. And I really liked his output. And to the body as well. He was chopping to the body. Very, very good fighter, Lescaille. So watch out for him as a potential welterweight, maybe a light middle, maybe he'll go up to, you know, super welterweight, 154. But I was impressed. I was very, very impressed. Anyway, if you saw this fight, let me know what you think. If you didn't see it, it's on DAZN. It was on the undercard of the Bravo Madeira fight over in Miami. And take a look. Tell me what you think. But keep an eye on this guy, Lescaille. I think he's a nice little addition to the welterweight division or the light middle division, depending on which one he settles on. I think he's going to stay at welterweight. If I had to guess, I'd say stay at welterweight. Let me know what you think. Have a look. Take care of yourselves, of course, and thank you for your time as always. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Thanks a lot.